Boom. What up, everybody? Great morning to everyone. Everyone, thank you guys for coming in and rocking with us. And as always, we appreciate you. Deborah in the building. It's funny. I keep looking like, who's going to be the first one in?
Sister D.
Deborah's in the building.
That's a foregone conclusion. You already know
Right?
who's gonna be in
I
first.
don't know. It's always a new one. Bust up in here. Happy Wednesday. Happy
Hey,
Wednesday.
Deborah. What's up, DJ?
All right, so let's see. Bam, bam. All right. So today we're talking about unity, unifying around at least agreeing on one agenda, one direction, so that we can make the most impact. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. But we'll talk
Indeed.
about it.
But we're going to dig
Just
into at
don't
least
get an answer like that. Yeah, it's possible. Matter of fact, let's just close the show right now. He answered the question. Yeah, it's possible.
Messed up the cliffhanger.
I know. Right? There was no giving that. Sorry.
Yeah, none. He was just like, yes. Now I'm going home.
There you go. Let's dig into it.
But don't be the meal. You know when you said that? Yeah, don't be the meal.
Experience is the best teacher, but truth is the Holy Spirit is the best teacher.
If you can find the straightest path to the queen that you're supposed to be with, I believe in, and she finds her straightest path to you, and I think it gets away from all those, the skeletons in the closet.
We aim for the wrong things.
Right.
We aim to make our children a good husband. We aim to make our children good wives or successful businessmen or whatever.
Right.
The aim is wrong.
Trending is not happening without curiosity. So what's driving curiosity? You understand? People that are successful, people that are effective in life are people with priorities.
All right.
Intro. What an intro.
Greetings. Hey.
Mama McQuarrie.
Oh, yeah, my answer was noted. Thank you, GA. Thank you for rocking with us. All right.
Is that right, GA? Oh, okay.
Brother, getting the write up. All right. So,
Otis.
Dude.
Oldie but goodie. Let's bring back Otis.
All right. So,
you,
make sure you guys share this conversation. Tag someone that needs to hear this as well. So, today, we are talking about something that I thought I wrote, but it didn't save. We're talking about. I didn't hit the save button. All right. So we talk about, as I said, unifying under one agenda. Can we come together in such an agreement where we can unify and move in the same direction, even with different backgrounds, different histories, and different thought process? Can we come together? And I think I know Pastor always mentions the different levels of friendship, or different levels, like the constituent, the confidant. I can't remember the one that is that goes by the enemy of my enemy is our friend. The when we have the same enemy, we can combine together to attack one thing. Hold on, let me get my brother Dwayne, comrade. Right. So how do we build comrades to go after, to attack one thing? And my focus, in a sense, and of course this can go many different ways. He gets the green screen award. Dwayne, you gotta give it up.
Everybody give it up for Dwayne.
Y'all don't understand the what he's done to get that effect. I mean, this man altered his whole house.
Right.
Just the garage. Just the garage.
Oh,
just the garage. Okay.
Right. So we talk about like police brutality, as we saw in the last, y'all talked about yesterday, right? So in essence, it affects Black men, you can say, the most, but it also affects everyone else. We know it affects our Black women, from Sandra Bland and on Breonna Taylor. So how do we how do we narrow an agenda that allows a larger unification around it? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it seems even down to just wearing a mask it seems to now be. I literally saw a commercial that had to that was about unifying, protecting everybody else by wearing a mask. It had to make it happy. Like, everybody wear a mask, put a mask on, save everybody life. It literally, me and my wife looking like,
okay, what kind of commercial is that?
Right.
I'm just saying. I mean, no. I'm just the length, and you know what? It probably was a Georgia targeted ad.
Oh, okay.
Not 9 times out of 10.
That makes
it probably
sense.
was targeted here,
Yeah.
but it just made it just. It's like, protect everybody, and because things like that, we know affect kids too. Kids are watching the same commercial, so when their parents are acting a monkey, like, why are you tripping? Aren't we trying to save everybody?
You ain't got your mask on.
Right. Because then they're like, you need to wear a mask. So so it's so how do we so kind of like a 2-layer thing. How do we unify, and how do we keep things from being so divided? What is a way to keep things from being so divided? Because it seemed like everything, especially close to the election, everything becomes a political football. Everything. Like you guys are breathing too much air.
Yeah.
So it's So go ahead.
If I can jump in, I think, and my thought process on this may be elementary, but I feel like in order to gain unity between people in certain situations, we have to first of all, I think, be pissed off at the same time, because we got to have a common thread in order to form unity with something. Everybody has a different opinion. I mean, it's like we were discussing yesterday about Mr. Blake, say his name, Jacob Blake, and how, well, he should have did this, he should have did that. Then why ain't you mad? And so everybody has a different, feeling about it, and that's the reason why we can't really get a footing on this unity thing, because everybody has different thoughts about it. So I think the first step for me is to first of all realize that we all gotta be pissed off at the same time. It's like it's like being tired of being sick and tired. Once you get to that level, then everybody can think about unity, because we want to go ahead and put a plan together. But that's just me, though.
I like what you said, Terry. If I disagree with any part of that, it's only the preference that we all got to be pissed off to make it work. We all don't have to be pissed off. We just got to play by the same rules and be okay with it. Everybody being pissed off would be blissful. That would be
bad.
That would be. I don't know if everybody's pissed off. That's almost like that's asking too much, if you will, because you can be pissed off and not really. Because right now, take the last 3 months of America. There are a lot of us been pissed off, both white and black.
Yep.
Right.
But that pissivity level, it wears down. Like literally, there's people who was pissed off, ready to march on Washington, D.C., jump over the White House fence, kick somebody's dog 3 months ago. And now they burn out. They're like, it's the same thing over and over. I'm tired. Right. So then you got people who aren't pissed off, but they've had it up to here with the two sides of the same coin. Justice okay for this one, but not for that one. So I think everybody just got to get to the same place where we are okay on the same playing field.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. When I say pissed off, I mean the same level of frustration. That it's crazy. I mean, this whole thing with Jacob Blake, man, it's kind of
That was a bit much. That was a bit much.
A lot much. That was crazy, man.
And I think another thing, just to add to what you guys are saying, is that there has to be a common theme, and a part of unity is integration, and there has to be a level of this is right across the board for everybody. And this is wrong for everybody. And the problem is there's been so many different preferences and so many different division in regards to what's right for us as Black people versus what's right for white people. And it kind of brings about that level of division, not just in what is right and what's wrong, but then it becomes about race, and then it changes the objective of what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And so I think the main thing is, even if there is a difference of preference or perspective, we still have to find a way to come into unity and integrate for everybody what it's going to take for everybody to have the same level of equality.
Right. Yeah. UNITY.
Because unity don't always mean that we're going to agree about everything.
No, I don't agree. No.
So, and that has to be put out there, because people think, well, if you don't agree with me, then we ain't unified. But that's not necessarily true. We may have different perspectives and different ways about approaching certain things, but the truth of the matter is the common goal should be the same.
Pastor, how you go?
No, I think it's funny. I'm listening to even how this conversation is playing out, and we all have different perspectives. But the singular thread is we need change.
Right.
And so the question is, to Dr. Burden's point, is where is the common ground? Right. When you talk about unity, what can we all agree on? You're right. We're not going to all agree on everything. We can play on the same basketball team and desire different plays be run. That's why they have a playbook in the NFL. It's a playbook because one play works for this person, another play works for that person. But ultimately, as long as we score and we win, we're on the same page. So the question is, at what level do we agree? I think that, let's see, E-Sharp, America's foundation, the Constitution, the church's foundation, the Bible, but interpretation is. Yeah, but, I love that concept, that the challenge with America's foundation is America was founded on a broken system.
Truth.
So, you cannot build on a broken foundation and expect to be successful. We're dealing with the pains that we're dealing with today because the very foundation of America disserved a large group, right? So that's the problem that we have. How do you go back and fix the foundation? How do you reset the foundation? And I would challenge anyone. I would dare say we don't fix America's foundation.
Right. True. I agree.
We don't. The only thing that we can do is an old adage that I heard many years ago is when you know better, you do better.
Right.
And I would think that all would agree that we have to do better. Right. And now we have to measure to what extent do we do better? Because like I said, you're not going to fix racism. There's still going to be a contingent of people that don't like you strictly because of the color of your skin, because it's been ingrained in it through generations. Right. So the question now is, how do we establish more improved equality? How do we get a better baseline for equality? And it still goes back to leadership. Right. If leaders cannot agree on a local level, how are we ever going to agree on a national level? So now we have to come together as a local group. Right. I mean, our churches can't even come into agreement.
I was trying to stay out of that path. I was trying to stay out of that, but since you
it's the truth, right?
It is.
I talked about it last night in Bible study in chapter 40 of Genesis, when Joseph interpreted the dreams. The butler had one interpretation and the baker had another interpretation. Everybody's happy with the butler's interpretation, but nobody wants to deal with the baker's interpretation. Right? The butler survived. The baker had to die. Nobody wants that prophecy. Right. Not only do I not want to hear it, but certain people don't want to speak it because they're afraid they're going to disrupt some things.
Yes.
We have to have some disruptors right? You have to have some people that are willing to step out there and say,
Right.
we can't even agree here. And I would dare say that we can't agree in the churches, but why can't we agree in the churches? Because we can't even agree in our own houses.
Truth.
Right? We have a misconception of what a shepherd, what a provider is. If you sit down right now and ask a man what his definition of manhood and provision is, and then you ask a woman what her definition of manhood and provision is, you're going to get two different answers. It's rare to get the same thing. So we've got to come together in our community. We've got to come together in our homes, in our villages, and then we can push that message to
Outward.
Push it outward.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. True. I think also, Pastor, I think it's also important that, especially from the church point of view, because y'all know I'm a churchman, and I appreciate these conversations because it pulls me out of the church environment into some other things that has the same problems. But I think from a church perspective, people don't even see how God, how Christ, and how the Holy Spirit are in unity.
Right.
So in order to have that same level of reflection or the same level of disposition, there has to be an understanding. And I think the problem with a lot of us is the fact that we think we understand what it's supposed to be until we get into it and realize that it's not the way that we thought. And so the growing and the diffusing and the changing of our mindset about what we think we need or deserve or quality or unity, I think that's going to be the governing factor, is the changing of our mindset about a lot of this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's cultures that think that they're still entitled. There's people who feel entitled to certain things that they didn't suffer. And so we got to really look at the root and the cause and the core of it to find out, do we really have the same perspective about what we should be expecting as a people? Because harmony and unity, you can have somebody in unity and to be the wrong cause.
Right. Thanks.
And so I think the mindset has to be shifted, in order for real unity and agreement to come.
And I'm sitting here listening to you and Pastor, and especially when Pastor started talking, I'm sitting here like, you know what? I got to stop tiptoeing so much, but I know some of the things that I can say can be so inflammatory that it's easy to take a sound bite the wrong way and somebody run with it. So here we go. After hearing you two, I think the biggest thing we have to do is change the historical narrative. Number one, we can't have unity without the historical narrative being changed, because the historical narrative is one of the things that drives a wedge between races and ethnicities in this country. If you talk about America, if you talk about the world, history really doesn't start on average for the typical person until a white explorer crossed somebody's sea, right?
Yeah.
American history starts at Christopher Columbus. We were taught Thanksgiving. We wasn't taught that Thanksgiving was a massacre. We wasn't taught that Thanksgiving was a brutal rape fest. We wasn't taught that it was land that was stolen. We was taught that the good pilgrims came over and learned and partook with the Indians. And that's what that was my life. That was what I was taught in school. That's what most of us are taught in school. Now, thankfully, my kids will never be taught that. And if they are taught that, then their teacher's going to have a historical conversation. But these are the things that we need. When the Declaration of Independence was written, when all of these things, I heard somebody. I watched what was it? One of the Comedy Central shows, like Saturday Night Live, but it's not that. The one on Comedy Central. Can't think of it. But you know what I'm talking about, Terry?
I know what you're talking about. I can't think
like
about
with Stewart, like the Late Show or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then Don Lemon or whatever. Yeah.
TV,
So,
I know what you're talking about.
So I was watching one of these, and and they were going around asking President Trump supporters. So, at what point was America?
Mad TV.
Since we're making, go ahead. I see you doing a timeout. Say again.
What was that? What is this? We getting hit spam or hacker? What is this?
It's a spam comment.
Hakeem Araba.
It's a spam comment.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because it had my mom's name on it, and I got my son's name on there.
Yeah, it's a spammer.
Okay.
See, real men don't play about this. That's just I just got to throw that.
See, he came quick, didn't he? That's
He was like, hold on, all that stuff you talk about. Who talk about my mom and talk about my son? We can get it popping right now, and I got his back. FYI,
we gonna forget about the pastor in front of my name. It's Brian today. It's B-Rod today. Don't play with me.
Hey, it's B-Dub today. I got time.
I'm gonna tell you where we can get rid of that.
But I just, long story short, we need to go back to the origin of this country, and we need to narrate properly this country's history with proper perspective to who actually paved way and make people feel inclusive. Anybody who's been successful on a large scale, they've succeeded on having people feel included. So we got to change the narrative in this country, because when they were asking those questions about when was America actually great, one guy said when the founding fathers took pen to paper. And I said to myself, wow, we really were great then, even though we had the greatest economy in the world and we were changing the political aspects of the world. I was like, we had black men in fields raping black women with little black children being sold from their parents. And that was a great time, although our founding fathers said that all men are created equal except you, Negro. Keep picking that cotton. So we really got to put these things in perspective. I mean, most people don't know that Eli Whitney did not invent the cotton gin. Why would I, your master, invent something that's going to make life easy for you when I just raped your wife last night?
Right.
But you know what, though, D? I think, though, it's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable in order to go back into our history and tell the truth like it really is.
That's why Facebook comments are quiet when you start posting truth.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Post some ratchet stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, you post some ratchet stuff. You got 1,000 comments. And the 1.2 million shares. But share some truth, so you'll get one like,
maybe
one comment.
3.5 a heart.
Three of your closest friends.
Yeah, no, they're gonna give you a heart and then take it back.
Yeah,
right. You know, how you like my stuff, take it back.
Rollins said something that makes sense. He said transparency is needed, and the willingness to change. Have to rip the bandage off. And he followed up with uncomfortability and pain. Yeah.
Yes.
It's that hard truth. Right. There you go.
That was a great.
No pain, no
song.
gain. Sunday's
song.
message.
Yeah, he took it back to that old secular song. No pain,
no gain. That's Stephanie.
It's all relevant.
That's Stephanie Mills.
Yeah, Stephanie Mills. She said, "Oh no.
Let's see. Hold on. And Cole Sports thing is this, Dwayne. People do not want to admit that America was built on blood spilled by innocent people. People don't want the gory truth of America's details told, right?
Yeah.
Right. It sounds better. Right. Sweet, good, wholesome explorers found new land and bonded with the inhabitants of it. You're right. Because he had ruining my Thanksgiving. I was like, I can't even have Thanksgiving thinking about it. I can't even have no turkey no more.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Why y'all banging on yams? You know what I'm saying?
Look, Christopher Columbus was the first pedophile after 1492 in America. He was the first pedophile in America after 1492. Think about that.
So, okay, so hold on. Let's bring it back. Because we're gonna go into this rabbit hole and we're gonna just tear up America right now, and that's fine with me. But
burn it out.
History is history. It's the truth, you know.
They
said slavery. Oh, let's just bury that. But look at what we have. You guys are fine now. Everything's good. So building unification under around one agenda, right? So we're at a point where it seems to get things done. Race can't be a factor in the fight. If you notice that race cannot, it's got to be a broad stroke of the pen that represents a humanity kind of thing. Because I was sitting there thinking, like, before even Black Lives Matter really started, right?
Mhm.
If we, because I think about some of the fights or some of the debates that were held in the '90s as opposed to now, like the Marriage Equality Act, things like marijuana starting to become legal, how the narrative has changed, how they shifted the thought process and how they made America in a sense look at it differently. Hold on, there's a comment. Yeah. He said Betty Wright.
Betty Wright, you're right.
So how, like, if with the police brutality, if it started off with just police, the blue killing Americans unjustly, right?
Mhm.
And we not only put up the Eric Garner, but we put up the ones that, because there have been some whites killed, and we put them up as well. You know what I'm saying? Show those incidents. Do you think the conversation would be different? No.
I'm giving other people the option to talk first because I know me.
Yeah, because Dwayne got all his notes over there. So
he's reading for something. He got a teleprompter with all the information up.
But I think it would not change the conversation, because just like Pastor said earlier, the foundation from the beginning has been deceptive from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would change the conversation if we talk about somebody who had a green face. I don't think it would change. But I think one thing that we really have to consider is that some people just don't have a desire to change it. My thing is there's a common there's a lot of us who want to see that particular changes happen, but those who are in high places, they got the power of the pen. So if their mentality is not to bring equality and unity, then we're going to be frustrated trying to burn down the White House, and they ain't even in there.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that we realize that until the people in high places get the same revelation of the people that's, beneath us in civilization, I think we'll still be having this conversation until Jesus come back.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and I agree for different reasons. Pastor's talked about the foundation, which is great, because I have a firm belief that to understand anything, you always got to go back to the origin. And for America, let's talk about the origin. First of all, race as we know it in America today, several countries throughout the world still don't know race the way we know it. Race the way we know it didn't exist until the 1600s in this America. If you watch an old slave movie, during this time, I don't recommend that you do that, because you probably want to go out and break some stuff. So don't do it. But if you did, notice that they called Kunta, they didn't call him black. They called him the African. Get the African back. We got to go get that African. And that's what we were called back then. It wasn't a black thing and a white thing. You're black. That was an America implementation that has spoken to the psyche of this country as we know it. Think about this. Since the first slave was brought over on a slave ship, it's been okay to whoop him. It's been okay to rape his woman, to sell his children, to put him in a hot field at 95 degrees in Georgia in the summertime for 15 hours, 6 days a week. It's been okay. It's been okay for him to be brutally killed if he talked back, if he looked at a white man wrong, if he learned to read. Any of these things, death was okay. And the thing about it is, you have poor white people after the end of slavery who were probably in the same boat as poor black people. But the difference between the vast majority of them were this. poor white people, their saving grace was, hey, at least I'm not a nigger. Excuse my language.
Right.
That was their saving grace. At least I'm not a nigger. So if we're talking about unity, we got to go all the way back. All the way back. And we got to deconstruct the vision that America has for herself. Because the one thing that stands in the way of America and the elites at the top of the far left and the far right are playing both of us is the fact that the ones who have stuff in common will never see it because race is such a part of this country. If this country won't change, we don't need to address the race issue. We need to get rid of the race issue. That has the thorn in the side of America.
But you know what, Dwayne? They said, I heard this one psychologist say that race is really an imagination. It's really like a deceptive imagination that don't exist. And I thought about that thing for a minute, and I said, well, why do people believe in something that's not real?
Right.
But again, anything can be taught. Racism can be taught. Deception can be taught, and it goes generationally.
Right.
And so I think we have to just get rid of the myths like you're talking about. And I also want to say that I'm voting for Dwayne for president 2000, what was it, 2024? Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Look, there's not enough channels for them to be talking about all the stuff that I've been through. Like, did you know that in 2012 that he was at club such and such? Nah.
Yeah, they would. He gonna be pulling a Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Bro, I'll be like Bernie Mac. Look, you remember Head of State with Chris Rock and Bernie Mac?
Yeah.
I'm like Bernie Mac. Look, they ain't never gonna assassinate you. Why? Because they ain't want me as president.
They'll never assassinate. You know what?
NATO Brown. You know NATO Brown?
I don't know that.
You know. And we're talking about mindsets, right? And I like BJ's comment, and he said nothing will change until they're affected by it, which probably won't be affected. See, and I think about that when we're talking about with coronavirus and COVID is all the same thing. And so people, oh, it's a hoax, oh, it's this, it's that, until it affects you.
Right.
I got a friend of mine that's right now, as we speak. Him and his wife are both positive COVID. He sent out a snap chat yesterday, and he was like, with the whole, oh man, our symptoms came back, and just want to let you guys know, man, that COVID is real. Now, this is the same person that 2 months ago, oh, this is a hoax, this is crazy. Wouldn't wear masks, wouldn't social distance, wouldn't do any of that. He just thought this was a democratic ploy. With COVID until he had it. So I said that to say this. Shout out to Dwayne. I mean, we have to first, like I said in the beginning of this thing, and before we can think about unity, we have to be on the same page to some degree.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so,
real talk.
That's I hate it takes that.
But I think
it's true.
It just we have to agree. Like the thing is, sometimes with walking in unity, we don't have to agree on a bunch of stuff, but we just got to agree that this thing needs to go away. Yeah. Right. And I probably mentioned it before, like term limits. For not everybody, you're never gonna get 100%, but you get more people that say yes on both sides than no's. Like just certain things. A significant plan to change money in politics, the long-standing debate. You can probably get more people to agree on that than no's, but it's just what happens. We start digging in the weeds, and that's where the separation starts happening.
Yeah.
I see that in like every argument, like George Floyd. Clearly the police was wrong. Clearly he was on his neck.
I done seen people say that he was an actor.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I
dealt down that rabbit hole with this.
Yeah.
But at his own funeral.
right. Yeah. I've seen a lot of like conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's
He didn't.
It's crazy. Honestly, I'm gonna just throw this out there that with the conspiracies on both sides, I honestly believe those that seem independent, bringing up certain levels of conspiracy, I don't think are independent. So I'm just gonna say that because it's just been a consistent independent. You know, so they attack fake news, and then they have independent people, and I don't think their news is credible either. Not just in theory, but I think they're getting sold a narrative as well.
Well, first and foremost, you have to recognize that those with, you know, the loudest voices are not because they're right.
Right.
You know,
right.
We live in a trending society, and so the loudest voices are the ones that are resonating. But resonating does not mean right.
Right. You know? Say it again, Pastor.
It's because you yell.
Right. Can you say that the most intriguing theory? you know, you get views and you get seen, and everyone's sharing it like it's fact, and it's not. But
so let me ask y'all a question: do y'all think that money is a major part of this issue?
Absolutely. What? Yeah. Why?
I mean, think about it. You got one of the richest people in America who didn't graduate from high school, who didn't go to college, pushing coronavirus vaccines. Why are you opening your mouth, Bill Gates? And nobody seems to even say anything. Bill Gates and your wife have nothing to do. You don't have a CNA certificate. And you're champion like y'all all said
he's not a CNA one. He's not a CNA one. You sure?
No, not even. He ain't even got a diploma, brother. He got billions, but he ain't even got a diploma. And this is the guy we want to listen to because he's rich as all get out.
Yeah.
Y'all have all said, AD, you said you talking about the agreement. And all I can hear in my head is, and for whatever reason, I hear Pastor Brian saying it. How can two walk together unless they agree?
Miss me with that.
I hear him in my head saying that, right?
It's influence.
Yeah. And this is what it comes down to: basic agreement. You got to be able to agree on what America needs, what's going to make America better. Basic agreement, right?
What's going to make America great again? No.
Unity.
Bacon. Bacon's gonna make America great again. Hey, Robin.
So think about this, right? Why is it we're supposed to be the last real superpower in the world, right?
Yeah. Yet
we cannot agree medically on COVID. Wear masks. Don't wear masks. Look, I'm reading a .edu.
You're right,
from I'm reading a .edu from Yale and Princeton that talks about how the mask takes away fresh oxygen to the lungs and over a prolonged period. And I'm like, these are medical researchers that are putting this out. Then I'm hearing over here on this press release that if you wear masks, then it's gonna protect all these people. Look, we got some of the richest and hugest research facilities in the world, and we can't agree on mask, no mask.
Point of clarity.
A point of clarity.
I clarity. Yeah.
I'd like to go back to a comment that you just made, Mr. Goodson. You said that you just read a paper from .edu talking about medical professionals at the highest level of education in the medical field, stating that wearing a mask has a negative impact on your lungs.
Right.
Are you talking about the same people who wear masks when they operate?
IGYY. Where's the bail at? Ain't we gonna bail?
It is, but I think the point is I'm not even gonna say I think the point is, but it goes back even.
You see what just happened right there?
Right. I can argue. That's why I stopped, because I can argue the point, but me arguing the point would be what we're doing as a whole.
Right. Division.
Right. And that's why I stopped. And I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
And the only point that I'm trying to make is the biggest problem that we have is we are arguing, we are debating about things that are not profitable.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
Right. And the biggest challenge with us is we make the mistake of debating in areas that are not profitable. All things may be lawful, but not expedient. We're not debating, right? So it's the same thing with all the money. You know, someone says I have the cure for cancer, and someone says we need money for cancer research.
Right.
How is it that you're curing cancer over here, but we're still having to spend millions over here for cancer research? Because if we stop researching cancer, we lose all this funding and all those people lose their jobs and everything. So, and I'm not saying that there is a cure. I'm not saying that there isn't a cure. What I'm saying is back to the point about money. Money drives a lot of things in this world. I mean, it's essentially the tool that is being used for power, for attention, for everything. Right. So where's the real problem? The real issue is a chase for power, a chase for recognition, a chase for money.
Right.
And whoever, and the reason why Bill Gates can talk about Corona is because he's the founder of Microsoft.
Right.
Yeah.
So people perceive him as a person who knows what he's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Success.
But I don't want my surgeon changing the oil in my car.
Right.
I really don't. That's not going to go well.
Right. So we have to put things in its proper perspective. The reason why we're having this issue with Corona is because we have the leader of the conversation is Donald Trump.
Right.
That's why he shut the scientists down.
Yeah. Sure did. He sure did.
That's power. That's leverage. That's what that is. So how does this change? I said this a week ago. I cannot expect Donald Trump to change the circumstances of my local community.
Right.
Big fact.
I did not expect President Barack Obama to change the circumstances in my local community. Right. Do you know that there are people mad at President Obama because he didn't get enough done?
Today, yes.
But he was a president, a Democratic president that didn't have control of the House or the Senate.
Right.
And he ain't had that Donald Trump money either.
Right.
Well, I mean, but it's not even about money, though. I mean, to your point, yeah, money talks. Donald Trump is a deal maker. He's still making money. He did not release anything. He didn't give up anything. He ain't even given up his taxes yet.
Right.
Right.
No.
So you're right. Donald Trump is a deal maker. Donald Trump is a marketing guru. He put his name on buildings that he don't even have an office in. Right. Come on now. I mean, listen. Yeah.
Give me that.
I'll go to him for business advice.
Right.
I will. But
Yeah,
I just don't want him running my country.
Yeah,
Right.
you can go bankrupt before you pay them their money, and you ain't got to pay them.
You got to do it.
Hey,
It is. It is.
And you can file bankruptcy as many times as he did and be one of the wealthiest men in the world. Yeah, you doing something right, and you're not in jail. Something either you're really right or something's very broken. You know. So I'm saying, you know, in terms of unity, we're going back to what we originally talked about. You know, unity is let's identify what the real issue is.
Right.
You know, what is it? Can someone please tell me what the real issue is?
Yes, sir. It is trust or the lack thereof.
In what?
Our country, our systems, trust, just like in every relationship. When it comes to,
but here's the thing, though, brother. Which systems are you referring to? See, we have to go.
Okay, so when you talk about the police,
Right.
there is a huge lack of trust for the Black community with police, rightfully so. There's a trust issue when it comes to the business side of things. People see your skin color and they make assumptions, and there's a trust issue. I know people who live in affluent neighborhoods outside of Georgia who gets the police called on them or gets followed to their house because they don't seem like they belong in the neighborhood that they own a house.
Right.
And it's a trust issue. The housing, it's a trust issue. when it comes to the law enforcement side, not just the enforcement side, but even legislation that comes through. It's a trust issue that Democrats don't trust Republicans that they're going to push a fair enough bill, or Republicans don't trust Democrats enough that they're going to.
I think that's outside of trust. That's just they want to win.
Yeah,
And you know what I found out? Guess what I found out? If you go downtown to the courthouse, you go downtown to the courthouse, you can stand there all day and listen to prosecutors and defense attorneys argue all day against each other.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, they go to the same fitness club.
Right. Hanging out.
At the end of the night, they go to the same bars. Okay. Right. Argue all day.
Right.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But where but their leisure, when they take their leisure, they go to the same places.
Right.
Democrats and Republicans vacation in the same places.
It's just
so
a job.
Who's the fool?
Right.
That middle portion of the population. That's white. That middle portion of the population that's black. Because the reality is, it's always been a chess game. Look, I can almost guarantee. I can't guarantee, but in my head, I can.
Hey, Leah.
In my head, I can. You take every rich person, and I'm pretty sure that there's a large. I think it's more than a majority of anybody who got 6-7 figures in their bank account right now.
I wish I had that.
I think if you could take every person in America with 7 figures in their bank account, I almost could guarantee you, if you had the money to do the research, that you can take them back to old money. Old money, not new money, old money. Like, for instance, President Barack Obama, how his lineage goes back to the Queen of England. A lot of people didn't know that. Most of y'all did.
I didn't know that. Listen, I didn't know that either.
I had no idea.
Him and George Bush have a great grandparent in common in what's now the UK.
Really?
Yeah, but I think what you're forgetting. I think what you all are forgetting. You can connect every president historically of the United States.
Right.
You can. You really can if you do the research. But guess what? Guess what? Magic Johnson is my cousin too.
Yeah, he's my third cousin removed. Yeah.
Third cousin.
That's like his cousin for real.
I mean, but he is my cousin. Seriously. Right. So
I believe
the point I'm trying to make is with enough research, you can connect everybody because the scripture tells us so.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Right. And you also have to remember slavery mixed a whole lot of bloodlines.
It did.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I get it. I understand all of that, but that's not my issue. The issue is, why is it that that's necessary for you to sit in this seat?
Because the people who have the authority to allow you to be in that seat, that's what makes them comfortable.
It lets you know who's really making the decisions. So when President Obama was elected, no one paid attention to the redistricting. No one paid attention to the redrawing of the district lines, all the gerrymandering that took place during the time that President Obama was in office. Right. Nobody realized that by the time Barack Obama had spent 8 years in office, every state looked different from a political mapping perspective. So they said, while they're celebrating, we'll keep working to make sure we'll sacrifice 8 years and we'll buy the next 25 years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And by the time they wake up, we'll have everything back the way that we originally wanted it.
True.
And that's the problem that we have in our communities. We're busy debating over things that are not productive for us. Right. But in the meanwhile, I'm gonna tell you something. What the message in Washington, D.C. is this: we will always win because they don't have anyone in Washington, D.C.
Right.
True.
We don't have representation in Washington, D.C. Those leaders in Washington, D.C., when they're raising their children and they're sending their children off to college, I told you all this. They put their sons and daughters on internships in Washington, D.C. I need you to go there, learn the system, know what's going on. What are we doing?
Right.
We out in the street shouting black power, but we have no representation in DC. Taxation without representation is still running rampant in this country because we don't even understand the three branches of government.
Right.
Our power begins in our local environment, and then we push it up.
Right.
And when we get to that level, we have to have representation. We don't have representation. Go look if you go look at the Republican Party and look at the crop, what I like to call them, of recruits every year going into Washington, D.C. Then go look at the Democratic Party and look at the crop of recruits going into Washington every year. I promise you, between both crops, both groups of rookies, if you would, you might find 10 black people.
Wow. And you know what I think too, Pastor, I think what happened was when Barack Obama went into office, I think black people thought that he was going to be the coming Messiah.
Yes.
And he was going to change everything. And then they forgot their local responsibility. And my thing is, I can be honest and say, you know what? I didn't really look at it for a long time until maybe the last 5 years or so.
Right.
How important my vote was, because y'all know we coming up into voting time and voting season.
Yep.
And people be like, well, you know, my little voice ain't gonna change nothing. You know, my little ballot ain't gonna change nothing. But truth is, it could be that one vote that make or break the whole thing. Right. So, you know, I totally agree with Pastor about making sure that our objective is not just to put that on one person, but put it on the collective unity as us as being a whole, as a community. The last thing too, AD, is the fact that I think that people don't realize that if you are going to lead, you've got to lead by love. And you got people who are in these high positions and these high ranking offices in the Senate and even, you know, Democrat, Republican, who don't even have love for their neighbor, respect for their neighbor. Right. You know, and if we're gonna change that, I think that's gonna be a major piece of the puzzle, is that we look at each other as equal and not just I'm gonna put my foot on your neck to try to get over. You know, that's just, you know.
And I think a lot of us are lost into, you know, being like, you know, the old saying, reactive instead of proactive. You know, and Pastor kind of mentioned that. You know, we are so reactive to things that happen. We're up in arms. We go forward. But we don't shift in proactive mode to prevent and to create something better for ourselves. You know, that's one hand of it. Also, we get so caught up in, you know, the conspiracy theories and what's just going to happen, and we just got to sit idly by and watch it happen instead of getting in the process and changing things that are happening around you. You know, you hear so many. And I've fallen into the rabbit hole on YouTube of the conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy, but there's never an answer to change anything. Nothing. Everybody want to reveal, I'm going to show you this article, but there's never any change. There's never any what to do next. And like I said, I feel like some of these things are being funded to keep us distracted instead of focusing on what's really happening in front of us, what's really going on. And every time something big happens, like explosive on the news or Trump says something crazy, I always look to see what's going on, what bill is trying to be slid through during this news cycle. You know, because things go under, and they always say, and listening to Rachel Maddow, she always said Friday is when sometimes they try to slide stuff through because it's the slowest news cycle for politics. So they always try to do stuff on Friday. You know, so you have to watch what's being slid through, because then you look in your neighborhood, something changes, you're up in arms. You're like, yeah, they signed this thing 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so they're, and the old adage, we're too busy playing checkers while they're playing chess. So we have to be active. We have to be proactive. Stop being so reactive to everything.
Right.
We know what's going on. We see another incident happen. We know, but what are we doing to make the change happen in our neighborhoods? What's going on around you? You know, and so that's what I want everyone watching just to think about that. Don't get so caught up in the daggone conspiracies and who's here and what's there and everywhere. You know, understand who you're putting into office. True. That's what you need to know. Understand who's your representative. That's what you need to know. Understand who's controlling that representative. That's what you need to know, and make change happen. Because and money, it takes funding for these politicians to run, and that's who they listen to a lot of times. But it takes votes as well. So if you don't have the funding, then you got to get the votes. So collectively coming together, one agenda, agreeing that we don't want this one thing, and making things happen. So that I think that was the crux of everything coming together. Real quick before someone else responds, man, my time is getting away from me. I just got into it. All right. Tomorrow, my brother Cicero Holmes, gaming strategist, entrepreneur, podcast, and speaker will be on the Brothers Who Talk. Yeah, this Thursday. He'll be dropping it Friday. So I say tomorrow, but we record tomorrow and it'll be dropping Friday. So definitely want to check that out when it drops. And if you're not listening or watching the Brothers Who Talk, you're missing out on some great stuff. Last week we had my brother Monty Weaver talked about YouTube. Yeah. Man, we got money strategists. We've had personal life strategists. I'm telling you, you are missing out on some great stuff.
Sleeping, bro.
Sleeping.
Yo, AD just said that like he was just getting ready. Getting ready to promote a mixtape or something. Right. He was just like, yo, dropping.
DJ Clue.
But before we get out of here,
yeah, go ahead.
I have one request. Can we please arrest the murderers of Breonna Taylor? Please.
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yes.
If we want to be on unity about that, let's get some unity in that. Can we do that?
And the only problem with that is, Terry, they have to see it as murder first. And that's the problem.
Exactly. They got to see it as murder first. I don't know how they can't see it. Stevie Wonder up in this piece.
Listen,
I believe Stevie can see.
I had a conversation with somebody yesterday about Jacob Blake. And the person said, I'm going to need more information.
What you need to know?
Woo! Look, me and my wife had that conversation. She was like, and it was a smart comment for her to make because some people jump down the rabbit hole and don't know what's going on.
Right.
But hold
on. We about to dig in. We've gone over to Facebook, going over to YouTube. So if you want to continue this conversation, we'll be in the YouTube space. All right. Look us up, the Brothers of Legacy. Brothers of Legacy. Yes, I did. I just jumped in and said it. All right.
You'll do it too.
All right. Yes. So I'm going to shut it down here. When the intro ends, we'll be in YouTube. All right, guys. So follow. If you got to leave and watch the replay. All right. Let's see if I can find the right thing.
Yeah.
Hurry up!
All right.
The YouTube subscribers.
Now, this is where the real party at over here on YouTube. Yeah.
Pastor,
but I want to say something real quick.
I interrupt Pastor, so I'm gonna give him back his time, and I'll wait to respond.
He didn't buy back his time. You buy back his time? Okay.
Because I rudely interrupted him.
Yeah.
Nah, go ahead, man. Go ahead, because I got what I'm doing anyway.
I was thinking about when Pastor was talking, if I may, when Pastor was talking about the three branches of government and how we don't care about any of the rest of it. I don't think you care about it's the presidency and all that jazz. And we had to take our we had to take our stuff, our votes and all that, and start from the bottom and squeeze, and push it up. When he said that, I thought about toothpaste. I've never wanted to go brush my teeth so bad in all my life when he said that, because I was like, we had to start from the bottom, right? You got to start from the bottom and you got to push up. And then when you get the toothpaste at the top of the tube, guess what? You can brush your teeth.
But everybody don't do it like that, though.
This is true.
I used to hate it. I mean, you
start from the top? You start from the top?
Start from the middle. Oh, my God. That burned me up.
I did a whole sermon
brushing teeth?
On the toothpaste tube.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
You're a real preacher.
Squeezing it from the middle, rolling it up from the bottom, squeezing it from the bottom. Some people roll the bottom up. Some people just squeeze the bottom. Some people do this here,
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, as long as you get some toothpaste.
That's it. Hey, Rachel, you guys.
That's the mark
toothpaste, baby.
of a real preacher, people.
Exactly.
When you can give life stories and biblical principles from toothpaste,
Right.
You're a bad boy.
You somebody.
Yeah.
Look, look, Dr. Burton can do it too. I can see it. Look, he was like,
nah, that's not my calling. That's not my calling.
Listen,
I talk about Listerine.
listen,
That's a
Dwayne.
burn, baby. That's a whole sermon too.
A cameo appearance from my oldest daughter, y'all.
Oh,
Hey.
hello.
Hey, Jewel, what's going on?
hey, Jewel. Oh, so Dwayne,
Yes,
this
yes, sir.
you know how you have people that rap and freestyle off for like one word.
Yeah.
That's what we used to have a preacher's rally. Like, all right, cup, coffee, go.
My cup's running over with coffee. They adore me. I go in
My
there.
back beat had to go through a process. It was battered and
Yeah, I'm telling you. Oh man, you know what? That
Real
might
quick.
be something. And then you got 2 minutes, and then the next preacher go.
There you go.
That's a freestyle Friday for you right there.
That'll be a fire. Oh,
If you guys are on YouTube and if you have not yet subscribed to the Brothers of Legacy channel, please do while you're here.
There's nothing like Folgers in your cup.
Yeah.
Like,
Gotta
give
love
us
it.
a thumbs up. What thumbs
See,
down?
See,
Thumbs
little
up and
did you
subscribe.
know is that bean had to go to the garden. It had Gethsemane, the place where it would be pressed.
Oh,
And pressed.
yes.
Until it
That's
gets
mine
that
back in there.
black gold.
Like broken from the middle.
Yeah. That
Wakes your
devil.
spirit up.
Oh, Satan.
There's nothing like waking up in the morning.
Satan.
Like, tell the devil you can't have my beans.
See, tiredness may endure for the night,
What?
but Folgers cometh in the morning.
But say no, punk. He wouldn't bust a grape in the fruit fight. Yeah.
You can't get the true impact of the coffee until you grind those coffee beans. You got to go through the grinder to get the impact. You want to wake up, you got to be ground up.
Come on, they don't hear me.
Not grinder.
But y'all don't hear me though.
You can't have my beans. You so okay. You can't have my beans.
Watch this. I want you guys to see this. Watch this.
Okay, watch this.
There's several different types of beans out there.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're Colombian beans.
Uh-huh.
They got a strong, robust feeling.
Yes, indeed.
Watch this. There's some jungle in Asia. There's this animal that eats and poops certain coffee beans that's worth $500 a cup. So I'm telling you that no matter what you've been through, that no matter what you're going through, that no matter how dark, how hard, how stinky it is, the most precious stuff in the world is coming from your process.
Now I need y'all to go ahead and
Y'all know.
I need y'all to sow into this bean anointing.
Lord, how did we get here?
Folgers.
But toothpaste.
Yeah, that's how we got here. Toothpaste.
How did we get to the toothpaste? Like, wow.
I was wondering how we got here. Like, how did we get here?
Look, I'm saying this ain't got so good. I need my paper towel. I need my towel in my cup.
Oh man, you guys. Broke out the preacher's rag. That's a whole different cloth right there. It's not even like really.
Take a time on to get out a coffee praise.
You guys, I can't.
Look, that's a real freestyle Friday.
That is a freestyle Friday.
Some of y'all are for the benediction. I like to call y'all my espresso praisers.
Real quick.
Come on, Pastor.
Just a little bit. It'll take a little bit.
Well,
That's good.
Bryce, you need to talk to Jesus today. We are in trouble.
See, some of y'all are like old Judas, right? You don't have the ability to believe it at face value when you gotta see it. You done heard credible people talk about something that's going on, right? Our brother Jacob Blake shot 7 times in the back, and then there's some of you that says, "Well, I need more evidence. I need more evidence." Well, I'll tell you something. You're walking with Jesus. The only evidence you need is what comes out of the mouth of God. That's all you need.
Don't Dwayne look like a tele-evangelist right now?
He does. He's gonna ask us to send him $10 for this bag of water. That's what. Go ahead.
Now, some of y'all might remember this. When I was a young boy, she used to sit me down and she said, "Baby, God is gonna use you."
Yes, indeed.
You hear me? God is gonna use you. You see the great Reverend Ike. God is going to use you more. See, some of y'all don't know about Reverend Ike. Reverend Ike, he was an old country boy from South Carolina driving Bentleys out there in Hollywood. Wow. But Reverend Ike was taking people money too.
Yeah, he was.
He ain't trying to take nobody money. We try
to get some beans to you.
Woo!
Who I hear a word. When I was a young boy.
With our initials on it.
It's anointed. When I was a young boy. Still playing with my toys.
Walk heavy,
hanging out with the guys.
Woo! Come on now.
Until I realized. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Quinn.
All right. Whew, that was good, guys.
We done went all the way left. I don't know how we leave Facebook and Periscope to come over here.
We just lost it.
Cut up.
Look,
Freestyle Friday though. Who's running Freestyle Friday?
But I will tell you this: my son watches this show on Roblox on YouTube. There's like 2 different people. He watches this Roblox, and they're like this playing the game, and he absolutely loves them because they're hilarious. And I was just like, so that little segment just now. Yes. It reminded me of the grown-up version of what he watches.
Yeah.
They be having like 18,000 views a day.
Wow. They be going at it. Yeah.
And they teenagers.
Wow. That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Dr. Chris, his Freestyle Friday.
Chris, you gonna be here Friday?
Y'all see my face? Y'all saw me.
Hey, we threw you the alley if you want to go that
route.
You
gotta do it, Duncan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, look. I always come up with something.
That's that face that you get when if your pastor call you Saturday night, like, "Hey, I need you to preach tomorrow."
Right.
That's the face. Yeah.
No. Look. But that's the preacher's version of that face.
Right.
Because the preacher is ready to preach at any given time. Right. Look, I'm telling you, a preacher be in a conversation like, yeah, oh, ooh. Well, I hear the Lord say.
Yeah.
I've been working on something for the last 3 months,
Yeah.
We're ready.
And then as soon as they get off the phone, they be like, "Oh, now you want to ask me?"
I've been waiting all this time.
I've been waiting.
You want to come up now? I'm gonna go on vacation tomorrow. He doing some kid. I come and preach.
You finally got.
I'm changed my whole schedule.
I was just talking about that in Bible study.
Yeah.
If you missed last Sunday, I just said it.
You got it.
All right, let's shut it down. I appreciate you guys rocking.
Hey.
Appreciate all my YouTubers.
Thank you,
YouTube. Make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe, like,
hit the bell.
Yeah.
So you
get your cousins to subscribe and like.
Yes, and share this on Facebook and everywhere that you are at. All right, so we appreciate you guys again.
One more time. One thing, AD. Please. Just keep in mind, it's an encouraging word for everybody that's watching on YouTube. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed, please do.
Yes.
To the Brothers of Legacy, and remember that the devil can't have your beans today.
What you got on that coffee, Craig?
Ain't got nothing.
I'm gonna just cover mine up.
My grandmama gave me them beans.
Shoot, he gonna cry the car.
You know what? We apologize.
Hey, AD, Who that black dude you got up there with the black shirt on anyway? You want to ask him for a cup of coffee?
Hide your bees. You better hide your bees. You couldn't press
He coming. He coming. Who? Devo.
Hey, Terry. Hey, Terry. What coffee? You know the coffee that your pops gave you. Yeah, it's all ours. We just keep it on my counter.
He said, every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen.
You in the kitchen. Trying to get a cup of coffee.
Brewing all the coffee.
Yeah.
Brewing all the coffee.
Hey, man.
Drinking all the Starbucks. I love coffee.
Hey, here's a classic big worm part, though. Hey, bro. Hey, Smoke. You got the rest of them beans, man? I got some guys around that need a couple of cups of coffee around the corner.
Nah, I sold it.
Yeah, I got some of it. Well, count my beans.
I mean, big worm.
Oh, man. Y'all are fool. He said, Miss Parker? Miss Parker.
The Lord is my shepherd, and he gave me fresh roast.
Let's shut it. We can go on all day. Let's go.